All right, welcome back to our podcast. I'm the gentleman, accompanied by the disturbed Southern Belle.
Hello.
And in this episode, we have two cryptids for you. One from Minnesota and the other Mississippi. So, starting with Minnesota, we have the Wendigo, probably the most well-known cryptid in the United States.
Probably.
Aside from Bigfoot.
Huh?
So, the Wendigo is known by many different names. No matter what you call it, they're always chilling cryptids that are said to hail from the state of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Often described as cannibalistic spirits that resemble zombies, this creature's appearance can vary greatly depending on who's telling the story and what region they hail from. Some depictions say that it is the size of a human, while others say it can be as much as 15 feet or 4.5 meters tall.
Goodness.
Yeah, that is a massive creature.
It is.
And consider most times they look like deer.
Yeah, they can, yeah. Yeah, creepy.
Like skeletal deer things.
Sorta.
Or just people wearing deer skulls.
Can.
Anyways, the earliest depiction or descriptions of the creature tell of a sad being that is said to have the appearance of a corpse, having a skeleton-like thin body that has gray skin. It was also said to have soulless, sunken eyes with bloody lips, yellow fangs, and a long, slimy tongue.
Oh, gosh.
Very appealing description.
Yeah, definitely. Ugh.
So, later, however, the descriptions describe an ape-like beast with a lipless mouth and giant fangs that it uses to devour human flesh.
Oh, well, of course it does.
It's always a cannibal.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Well, I guess it's not. I guess technically a cannibal is eating us. We're not. But still, yeah, I think some of them are supposed to have been humans that were possessed, but still, whatever.
Either way, it always tends to have appetite for human flesh.
Exactly. It's still disgusting.
So, this depiction was also said to be able to turn someone else into a Wendigo, which was considered to be one of the absolute worst curses to the Algonquin-speaking tribes of the area.
I guess so. Because I've heard they're supposed to be like always hungry and just can never get enough. And
Yep.
they're kind of sad in a way.
Very much so.
But, yeah.
So, as for the myth of the Wendigo, according to Algonquin tribes, a great snowstorm once swept the land, and it had lasted so long that a warrior was sure that he and his family would starve. The snow and fierce wind finally died down, and the warrior was able to go outside of his tent. Taking his knife and spear, he headed out to his most frequently used game trail. He searched the area intently, hoping to find any sign that any game was nearby, but the forest was oddly silent and gleaming under a blanket of snow and ice. The warrior knew that the possibility of finding food was likely a lost cause, and that any animal that had sense would be safely tucked away, warm in its den. But the warrior was desperate and did not want to return to his starving family empty-handed. As he continued on through the chilling stillness around him, he began to hear a strange hissing sound. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, and he stopped, spinning in a circle, his heart hammering in his chest.
Oh, gosh.
Just then he saw footprints appearing on the path in front of him. He drew in a deep, cleansing breath, knowing that lurking somewhere in the quietness was a Wendigo. The Wendigo was a massive beast that he had learned of at his father's knee. He knew that the creature was as tall as a tree, with a lipless mouth and jagged teeth. He also knew that its breath sounded like a strange hiss, and its footprints were filled with a red substance that these were.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, just wonderful. And he can't see it right now, so
Yep.
yeah, wonderful.
So it would also devour any man, woman, or child unlucky enough to encounter it.
Oh, well, yeah, it's sounding better and better.
Or worse, sometimes the Wendigo would choose to possess a person instead of eating them, which then turned them into a Wendigo. They would then be forced to feast upon the flesh of their loved ones.
Oh, my gosh.
It just gets better and better.
That is nightmare inducing. I mean, because you couldn't control yourself.
Nope.
So it's kind of like you're in the back of your mind and somebody else is controlling your body, making you do something. Oh, gosh, that's horrible.
So the warrior knew he had one chance and one chance only, because the alternative was not gonna happen.
Right.
Slowly, he began to back away from the footprints while listening to the hissing sounds. Was it getting stronger from here, he thought to himself. As he looked to the sky, seeing the clouds gather, this meant a new storm was brewing. He tightened his grip on his knife in one hand and his spear in the other, and suddenly to his left, the snowbank erupted, and a creature as tall as a tree leapt out at him.
Oh my God.
Acting on instinct, the warrior dove to his side, making sure to roll through the snow so that he was coated. He knew that the snow would make him harder to see in the twilight gray of the newly advancing storm.
You're smart.
The Wendigo quickly righted itself and turned at the warrior, which is when the warrior launched his spear at the beast, burying it into the creature's chest, but the Wendigo just batted it away as if it were a mere toy.
Oh God.
The warrior, still not defeated, hunkered down behind a small tree while the Wendigo searched the area for him. Soon, the creature's sharp eyes were able to spot the outline of the warrior against a tree. So the beast reached around the tree, grasping for the warrior, but seeing his chance, the warrior plunged his knife into the Wendigo's cruel black eye.
Oh.
The creature screamed in pain, and the warrior twisted the knife deeper into its skull. The Wendigo reared back and tried to escape, but the warrior leapt upon it and pulled the knife from its head and proceeded to stab it repeatedly in its eyes. The massive beast finally collapsed to the ground. The beast blended perfectly into the snowy ground on which it lay, and the warrior realized that he would not have seen it had it not been for the red coming from its wounds.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The body of the creature then grew misty before slowly disappearing, leaving behind only a red stain to show it had ever existed.
That's crazy too.
The warrior was rightfully shaken by this encounter with the mythical cryptid, and he began his long trek home to his much-missed family. He quickly found, however, that he was weakened due to hunger and that the worsening storm would be his demise if he didn't find shelter soon. He continued on, and at the edge of the woods, he found himself staring at a red fox. The fox was fat and old, with its muzzle lined with gray. It stood perfectly still, simply looking at the warrior. The warrior quickly said a prayer of thanksgiving for this gift that had been given to him for killing the Wendigo. He then killed the fox, taking it home to his starving family. The meat from the animal lasted for many days and kept his family alive until the storm finally broke and he was able to resume hunting properly.
Well, that's a pretty cool story, though.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, so it is kind of like that fox was just sitting there looking at him, like waiting on him and didn't run away. That's odd. So
Yeah,
maybe
it
it was
is.
his gift for killing the creature.
Quite possibly.
Because it knew, that was like the forest giving him a gift or whatever, since they knew he was starving, his family's starving, nothing around, everything's kind of holed up because of the blizzard. So, but interesting. I like it.
Very much so. So moving on from the Wendigo, we're going to Mississippi with the vengeful siren, the Yazoo River Mermaid.
Oh my goodness.
So this aquatic cryptid has a sad origin story. The story goes, there was once this beautiful young woman that fell in love with a handsome riverboat captain. As most young couples in love, they were said to be inseparable. However, as in most cases, their happiness was not destined to last.
Yeah.
The riverboat left for a routine voyage, although when it returned, the captain was not on board. The young woman was heartbroken, so, frantic with worry, she began searching the riverbanks for her lost love. But as days turned to weeks and weeks turned to months, she began to lose hope of ever seeing him alive again.
Oh, it is sad.
And then finally, no longer able to hold out hope of finding her missing beloved, she ended her time on Earth by jumping into the muddy depths of the Yazoo River, determined to be reunited with her lover one way or the other. It's said that the river had other plans, however, as her body was pulled beneath the murky water, an odd transformation began to take place. Her legs fused together and formed a shimmering fishtail. Her skin turned a greenish hue, and her face, which had once been pure and beautiful, was turned into a grotesque mask of rage and sorrow.
Oh, gosh.
While she did technically become a mermaid, she definitely was not like the ones of grace that that grace pages of most fairy tales.
Right.
She's said to be a vengeful siren that is determined to lure men to their demise and punishment for her own pain and suffering.
Oh, gosh.
There have been numerous tales that were told by these, or of these, that were unfortunate enough to meet this fateful creature. Fishermen in the area tell of hearing a haunting song that can be heard creeping across the water on moonlit nights. The sound is said to be so beautiful that if you hear it, you will be instantly compelled to leave your boat and seek its source.
Oh, that's creepy.
Those that are lucky enough to resist the call of the siren have actually reported seeing a shadowy figure swimming just beneath the surface of the water. And they say that if you look closely, you can make out the outline of a woman with long, flowing hair and a fish's tail. She is said to be looking directly at you with eyes filled with malice and hate.
Oh, gosh. So she's not playing around.
She ain't happy.
Right there, and she's wanting, yeah. Oh, so she's not even out and about. She's right there waiting on them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
She is very upfront about her rage.
Right. So, yeah.
So, like most cryptids, it's hard to know the full origins of the creature or to find actual proof of its existence. Aquatic humanoids or mermaids have actually been a long-told tale in mythology for centuries upon centuries.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, some researchers actually think that the Yazoo River Mermaid may actually be more of a cautionary tale like a lot of them are.
Right.
It was thought to warn against the dangers of falling in love with men that are bound to the water, as many are known to be fickle with their affections.
Well, that's kind of true. I mean, I'm not saying that that's actually true of men that, are sailors and things, but that is something that you hear, oh, they got a woman in every port kind of thing.
Yeah.
And some may do. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that either, but I'm just saying, that is something that you hear. So yeah, I can kind of see where that might be coming from in that instance, but good grief.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she sounds mean.
Very
and
much
green.
so.
I mean, I guess to blend in with the water too, not more like a fish, but also makes you think more like a witch too. So, and then malice and hate, like wicked coming at you through the water, sort of thing. But yeah, she's creepy.
Very much so. But that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Tell us what you think down below, and I'll turn it over to the Belle so she can tell you about her next one.
We'll be continuing on with some more of the haunted places. We're getting very close to the end to finishing up the series, and then we'll be finishing up our cryptids by states. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe, and don't forget to stay disturbed.